Premonition to pray. Hurricane Ivan, the third major storm to rip through Florida in 6 weeks, hit the Panhandle, wreaking havoc on everything in the path of its fury. Lieutenant Dan, a National Guardsman, was called up and sent to Milton, Florida to help with relief efforts. There he met Pastor Lowry of Pace Assembly and was granted permission to use their facilities as a barracks and as a distribution center. Volunteers from the church and its staff worked side by side with the soldiers, providing the basic essentials for thousands who were in desperate need of basic essentials. One of the volunteers and Lieutenant Dan developed a close friendship. They had a lot in common. They were both young, beginning their careers. Lieutenant Dan was a high school history teacher and Travis was a commercial airline pilot. They were both involved in church, were into fitness, running, and working out religiously. Travis rented a plane and wanted to take Pastor Lowry and Dan up to view Ivan's damage from the air. They were scheduled to meet Wednesday morning. The bus that transported Dan's men to their duty stations was supposed to pick them up every day at 8 o'clock. But because of problems, it never arrived until after 10. The men were working security and assisting in traffic control. So Dan had plenty of time to take a quick flight and get back before the bus arrived to pick up his men. Wednesday morning, Pastor Lowry received an emergency phone call. And for the first time ever on that Wednesday, the lieutenant's bus arrived on time. So Pastor Lowry and Dan were both disappointed. They called Travis and canceled the flight. 2 other people from the church took their places on the plane. Travis taxied down the runway and took off, no problems. But as soon as they were airborne, the plane began experiencing engine trouble. Travis attempted to turn around, but his efforts were futile. The engine lost power and the plane crashed, killing everyone on board. The church and community, already suffering because of Ivan, were shaken by the loss. 2 nights, now listen to this, 2 nights before the crash, Lieutenant Dan's mother was wakened in the middle of the night, hearing one of her boys crying out for help. She checked on the youngest, but he was resting peacefully in his bed. She was troubled and began praying for Dan and her other son, Isaac. She went back to bed after a couple of hours, and a few days later, when Dan called and told her about what had happened, she was certain about one thing. God had given her a premonition to pray. A great many people do not pray because they do not feel any sense of need. But it is imperative that we call on the Lord constantly, because it is prayer that moves the hand of Him who moves the world. Premonition to pray. We all need to pray. The Bible says, rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing.